You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Wednesday, January 28th. I'm Johnny Connor. Thanks for listening to Four Things to Know. Let's get to our top story today. Minnesota DFL Congresswoman Ilhan Omar says she is okay after being sprayed with something during a town hall last night. A 55-year-old man was arrested, and he is now at the Hennepin County Jail. The Congresswoman had called for Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to resign. That's when the man jumps up from his chair. Police say he sprayed the substance with a syringe, but they have not said yet what was sprayed. We know Minneapolis forensic scientists responded to the scene. Security quickly took the man out of the room. Omar's staff tried to get her checked out, but she insisted on continuing the event, saying they are not going to get away with it.
Here is the reality that people like this ugly man don't understand. We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw us.
U.S. Capitol Police released a statement on the attack, calling it, quote, an unacceptable decision that will be met with swift justice. So far, the man has not yet been charged with a crime. Earlier this morning, Governor Tim Walz told us he blames President Trump for what happened.
The president constantly attacks Representative Omar, attacks her citizenship, attacks the very decency of it, and we've asked him time and time again to stop it. I don't believe he's capable of stopping it. I keep coming back to this. The decency of the American people is going to have to speak up.
Number two, let's get to the latest in the fatal shooting of Alex Pretti. A memo to members of Congress revealed new details about the timeline of the shooting. Customs and Border Patrol says it reviewed body camera footage from the shooting on Saturday, and here's what we've learned from that. A federal officer tried to get Pretti and a woman out of the road. When they did not move, an officer then pepper sprayed them. The memo does not mention Pretti brandishing his gun, but it does say Pretti resisted being taken into custody. During a struggle, a federal agent yelled, "He's got a gun," multiple times. About 5 seconds later, two of the agents fired their weapons. Here's what a witness who recorded the encounter said about the incident.
I watched him die. I remember him arching his back and his head rolling back, and it was so fast moving, but not for me.
The federal memo says after the shooting, one of the agents told the others he had Pretti's gun. The investigation is being led by Homeland Security. Number three, a dad and son from Ecuador taken by ICE in Minnesota will get a visit from a lawmaker today in Texas. Congressman Joaquin Castro will visit the detention center where 5-year-old Liam Ramos and his father are being held. Yesterday, a federal judge blocked their deportation as their immigration case plays out in court. Federal officials say they cared for the boy after his father abandoned him to run from ICE last week. Columbia Heights school leaders dispute that claim, saying agents used the child as bait to try to detain other family members. And sticking on immigration for a little bit longer, that all is happening as a war of words today between President Trump and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Yesterday, the mayor talked about his meeting with Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, who has taken over control of Operation Metro Surge. Frey says he told Homan that Minneapolis will not enforce federal immigration laws. Today on Truth Social, President Trump wrote, quote, "Could somebody in Frey's inner sanctum please explain that this statement is a very serious violation of the law and that he is playing with fire?" Mayor Frey then responded with this statement to WCCO. Quote, "The job of our police is not to enforce federal immigration law, but to keep people safe. I want our police preventing homicides and carjackings, not hunting down a dad who works full-time, contributes to Minneapolis, and happens to be from Ecuador." Now to number four today. Nearly 100 Minnesota food banks are calling for an immediate end to the surge in immigration enforcement. This comes as they say federal agents have targeted food shelves. WCCO's Adam Duxter has more from Second Harvest Heartland in Brooklyn Park, where volunteers say their efforts are in overdrive.
More volunteers are coming in right now just behind us, and they're here to pack up to 50,000 boxes of emergency meals. That's in addition to what Second Harvest Heartland is already putting out. And inside those boxes, you'll find things like pasta, peanut butter, tuna, enough to make a few meals for immigrant families. And this comes as this organization and nearly 100 others say that immigration enforcement as it is right now cannot continue in the Twin Cities. Now, this organization and those nearly 100 others released an open letter today where they say that Operation Metro Surge has brought with it chaos and violence. The letter goes on to say that food shelves in the Twin Cities have seen federal agents follow volunteers making food deliveries, stand outside food shelf entrances, stage in their parking lots, and in one instance, detain a food shelf volunteer. At Second Harvest Heartland CEO Sarah Moberg says their focus is on feeding people, that accessing food shouldn't be something that comes with fear.
People are looking for safe ways to access food, and we know that that's been difficult right now. I believe that everyone deserves to eat, no exceptions, no questions. And I really hope that that is a sentiment that we can all share.
When it's all said and done, those boxes will go to places of worship as well as other food shelves and schools throughout the Twin Cities.
Those are the 4 things to know today. Now let's check in on our forecast.
Hi, next weather meteorologist Lisa Meadows. As we head into tonight, we drop down to 5 below zero, your overnight low. Wake up wind chill tomorrow will be about 15 below zero, with our high temp heading into tomorrow still topping out just at about 10. We have clear skies tonight and sunshine tomorrow.
And now, here's more to know.
On Tuesday, Alex Pretti's sister shared a statement saying her brother was kind, generous, and wanted to make a difference in the world. She also shared her frustration, saying in part, quote, "When does this end? How many more innocent lives must be lost before we say enough?" And tonight, community members are holding a vigil for Pretti outside the Department of Veteran Affairs headquarters at 4:30. And this weekend, the bike shop Angry Catfish in Minneapolis will also honor Alex. Alex was a customer and member of the local cycling community. They'll host a memorial ride for him on Saturday. The route will take riders to his memorial, his workplace at the VA hospital, as well as Renee Good's memorial. Here's Gerard Alder from Angry Catfish.
It's a ride of solidarity, right? To show folks that maybe have never experienced them, love, to show folks what real love feels like, to have folks come together and truly, we are one, we are stronger together.
Between 50 to 1,000 people are expected to take part in Saturday's ride. Educators say learning is colliding with fear as ICE activity continues. A Columbia Heights school board chair says a student was stopped on their way to school yesterday morning, but they were not detained. And they are not the only school district feeling the pressure. In the Fridley Public School District, 80% are students of color. 16% of students are now enrolled in virtual learning. And across the state, e-learning has exploded once again. But educators say while it is a short-term solution, it does come with long-term consequences. And students like Ria DeLuz, who goes to Maple Grove Senior High School, say enough is enough.
This is why, on Friday, January 30th, students across the metro will be walking out of school and going to the governor's mansion in St. Paul to deliver messages from our missing classmates.
The students' demands include safe busing for all students, immediate suspension of the policy that withdraws students who miss 15 consecutive days of school, and a pause on standardized testing. And staying on immigration now, Operation Metro Surge has brought 3,000 federal agents to Minnesota, and Minneapolis police are racking up overtime hours because of it. From January 7th, that's the day Renee Good was killed, to January 9th, MPD officers worked a cumulative 3,000 extra hours. For overtime, those officers are paid at 1.5 times their regular wage. That's according to court documents. The estimated MPD overtime costs for the 4 days after Good was shot came out to $2 million. But by January 18th, that number rose to $3 million, according to a city spokesperson. Those numbers are from before the killing of Alex Pretti, meaning they are likely to rise. And over in St. Paul, from January 7th through the 19th, St. Paul police worked more than 2,300 hours for a city bill of nearly $190,000. That includes base pay and overtime, according to a police spokesperson. Minnesota-based progressive think tank North Star Policy Action shared an analysis last week looking at estimated taxpayer costs associated with the federal crackdown. In that analysis, they estimate the cost to taxpayers could be at least $18 million per week. That includes agent compensation, lodging, and meals, plus detention for those arrested and police overtime. The group says that number is just an estimate. And new today, Bruce Springsteen released a new song called Streets of Minneapolis. It's in response to what he called, quote, the state terror being visited on the city. The musician said he is dedicating the song to the people of Minneapolis and our innocent immigrant neighbors in memory of Alex Pretti and Renee Good. Now to local politics, unofficial results for two special elections held yesterday show the Minnesota House will remain tied on party lines. St. Paul's House District 64A was vacant following the resignation of now St. Paul Mayor Cowley Herr. DFLer and labor lawyer Meg Luger-Nicolai won 95% of the vote. The other vacancy was in House District 47A, which covers parts of Woodbury and Maplewood. That seat was vacant after Amanda Hemmingson Yeager was elected to the Minnesota Senate in a different special election back in November. DFL candidate Shelley Buck, a leader of the Prairie Island Indian community, ran unopposed, and she received 98% of the vote. Let's get to sports headlines. Timberwolves in Dallas tonight. Right now, the Wolves sit tied at 6 in the Western Conference, but they are only 3.5 games out of second place, so you can tell those standings very jam-packed. But are the Wolves a real contender? They did finally snap out of their 5-game skid last game on Monday night. Head coach Chris Finch says they knew this could be a defining month.
You know, we talked about how important this month of January is to us. You know, we've had some really tough losses, embarrassing losses that made us kind of think differently about the way we were trying to go about things individually. You know, sometimes it's just that, you know, just exposure.
Wild have an off night after they came back from a 3-0 deficit last night to beat the Blackhawks in the shootout. Get this, there are 5 Minnesotans that made the U.S. Women's Hockey Olympic team, and 4 of them play for the hometown Frost. That includes first-timer Taylor Heisey. She missed out on the 2022 team despite being a star back then for the Gophers, but now the Lake City native will make her long-awaited Olympic debut as the U.S. looks to improve on last game's silver medal.
Just super excited, and it's obviously a dream come true, and I'm trying to live through it. I think obviously you make that announcement and then you're back on the road and you're doing things with the team, and sometimes it's hard to really bask in it, but I think I'm doing a good job, and obviously being roommates with Grace helps. We're both kind of figuring out what we want to pack and all that fun stuff.
Gopher men's basketball in Madison tonight. The Gophers have lost 5 straight, including just a few weeks ago to the Badgers on a buzzer beater. That's an 8 p.m. tip-off. And some football news. Gopher football team released its schedule. Here's a few highlights. September 12th, SEC opponent Mississippi State comes to town. The Gophers will open their Big Ten schedule at Michigan. And, oh yeah, at national champion Indiana on Halloween. Safe to say, pretty tough schedule.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
A Minnesota teacher has a shot at being the 2026 National Teacher of the Year. Her name is Linda Wallenberg. She's Minnesota's 2025 Teacher of the Year. She teaches English at Eden Prairie High School. She joins other teachers from Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, and Pennsylvania as finalists for the top honor, and the winner will be announced this spring. I'm Johnny Connor. This has been 4 Things to Know. We're here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock. Thanks so much for listening today. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.